Colorado, home of the Rocky Mountains, the Mile High City, and today, there's Magic to be played.
It seems to be pretty good. We've got a decent turnout today. I'm a fan of the block, so yeah, I'm really going to enjoy today.
It's a larger event. I imagine there's a percentage of people here that think they can play really high-level competitive Magic, and this is how they figure they can get in. Another percentage of people are here just to have fun. And other people are here because they actually do play competitive Magic, and this is what they're here for.
I've never been to a big tournament. I'm going for fun, just play with some friends and just experience what it's like to play at a professional level.
As a first experience, it's a really great opportunity. I didn't imagine it to be, this big, over 1,000 people. It's nice being able to, play in these competitive tournaments and, really give your practice and your hard work and all those late nights and early mornings of testing a good, round of applause.
The feature matches will be
The Grand Prix is a large-scale Magic event that's open to the public. Anybody that wants to come in and play can pay the entry fee and play all they want day one.
It seems like it's a lot of fun. I love having all the side events in case I lose. I know it's not as big as some of the other ones, but it's really big for me, and it seems to be run pretty well.
There's side events. There's all kinds of sets. There's 8-man pickups. If you find a couple friends, you can play with them. It's pretty much anything that you want in Magic, you can probably find it.
My name's Steve Argyle. I started illustrating for Wizards of the Coast in about 2006. I started doing work for Dungeons & Dragons. I started working on Magic specifically in 2007 for the Shards of Alara block, and I've been doing a handful of pieces per set since then. I doodled in high school and before then, and I'd always heard, just like everybody else, that you really can't make a career out of it, so don't bother. So I went into chemistry instead and failed miserably at that. There's way too much math. So I just kind of kept clinking away at doing art, and eventually it paid off. Thank you.
The format is sealed deck. You receive 3 unopened packs of Scars of Mirrodin and Mirrodin Besieged. You open up those packs and you try to build a 40-card deck with 23 cards and 17, 18 lands, and then you play.
It's really a format of trying to build the best deck with what you get.
I laid out the cards I would normally play with in a deck. And normally when you lay out all your cards, you're like, okay, I got 27 cards, I gotta cut these 4, or I got 28 cards, I gotta cut these 5. I laid it out and I had 18, and I was like, uh-oh. So then I had to go into the sideboard and find 5 more cards to put in the deck among cards that I would normally never play with. So we're doing there's gonna be a lot of cards. I'm playing a lot of cards that I would normally not play, like Gruesome Encore.
draft.
Day 1 was sealed deck, day 2 is draft. So we're gonna do 2 drafts, each one has 3 rounds, and then the top 8 people who have the best combined record between the 2 drafts today and the sealed deck yesterday go on to the top 8, which will be a 3rd draft.
Cast the last card to your left.
And it's one of those decks that I sure would have liked to have had in a practice draft because it's very experimental. And this is a really strange time to be experimenting with the crazy stuff. But I mean, it could work. It'll be interesting. It's not a good deck, but it's got some things it can do.
My deck right now is Black-Green Infect. Not my favorite archetype, but I opened a Phyrexian Vat Mother and then got past a second Phyrexian Vat Mother, so I went Infect. Picked up like 3 Rot Wolves in pack 1, and yeah, got, Cis Bears, Double Plague Stinger. It's one of the best decks I've drafted. I just got a little unlucky against Brad, but it happens.
I have a green-black Infect deck with Skitherix and some good removal. It's beat down too. I got some non-Infect guys, so I mean my last opponent was at 9 poison and 1 life, so I go both ways.
If you're wanting to win a sealed tournament, really, I mean, a lot of it does come down to your pool, but not as much as everybody tends to think. There's almost always a deck that you can find within your pool, so it's just knowing the cards, knowing the power levels, and just building the best thing that you can do out of that deck. Really, you just have to know the meta game.
The first thing you have to understand is that every sealed format is different. Most sealed formats are going to be slow, and I see a lot of players choosing to play always go first. And I don't think that's a good decision. If your deck is really fast, maybe it's a good decision. But in sealed, since the format is so slow, the games will go long, and you'd rather have that extra card.
I think the most important thing for success at Magic is understanding what matters and focusing on that, not sort of getting distracted by either things outside the game or sort of that may seem important but aren't really the sort of the core of what the giving game is about. In Limited, I've seen a lot of players, they do a lot of things to protect their life total when really their life total isn't necessarily nearly as important as the sacrifices they're making to protect it. Like your life total is a resource, and just like your cards in your hand, your lands in play, so it's important to recognize when you can afford to sacrifice your life total to sort of gain advantage over the course of a game.
Removal is good in sealed, so are big creatures, well, bombs in essence. And you just want to find a configuration with your sealed deck where you can play most of your removal and your bombs and still have some creature density. And I would just say play and have fun.
Practicing drafting, there's a lot of skills that go along with it. It's not just like memorizing which card is better than which, because in draft, the card values change proportionate to the other cards you've already drafted, Like synergies are often just as important, if not more important, than intrinsic card power, Like it's easy to memorize these rare cards are good or whatever, but that's not how it really plays out. How it really plays out is which cards work well together, And reading the signals of what the people next to you are doing, Because sometimes you might see the best card in the pack, but you might realize that the person next to you is playing that color as well, and so you might take the second best card because you want to not fight with the person next to you so that you both get the best, he ends up passing you more good cards later. When you're drafting, you sure don't have a lot of time. Like people when they're doing practice drafts or whatever, a lot of people make the mistake of just taking all the time in the world to think about things. Sometimes that can be kind of bad practice because at the actual event, you only have a matter of however many seconds, And sometimes when you're on the fly, you gotta, make decisions quick, and you sure don't have a lot of time to mentally go over every single card you've already drafted and so on,
Towards the end of the day, we asked for some tips on general Magic gameplay.
One of the best things you can do is take notes. Ever since they started to allow you to use notes in games and everything, just writing down your opponent's cards so that you can know their deck really helps you with sideboarding. And really helps you know what you're up against. It can be sometimes kind of hard to figure out what they're doing just from the first game, whether it goes too fast or whatever. So really just being able to look at what they played and have a little bit of time during sideboarding to piece together what's going on can really help you out with your sideboarding decisions.
Only play what you need, don't overcommit, and think about everything that's going on the field. If you're in a sticky position, instead of scooping when you see Demon of Death's Gate and you have nothing, think out what's the card I need. What's the card I need to fix this?
There's no quick way to win. You have to work hard and learn step by step by step. There's no just quick tip to get good.
My advice to anyone trying to get better is just to read everything. Like that's how I ended up getting decent, is I just read everything. Like nowadays there's so much content that it's kind of impossible to read everything, but find authors you like, pay for the subscriptions to whatever, online magazine you need, whatever, and just watch as many videos, read as many articles. Don't necessarily take everything word for word and just repeat it or regurgitate it, but pick and choose, kind of, take the information and use it to your advantage, and then just play. You just have to play a ton.
I love Magic culture and being where the action's at. Obviously there's, pro points and prizes and everything like that, but even more than that, it's an opportunity to play highly competitive Magic with, obviously tons of my friends too. We see a lot of the same people at each event, We've got friends I got friends from Japan and from France and from Brazil and so on. And how often will we get to see each other? Well, we get to see each other, every month at a major event, And so it's really cool to have these good friendships with people from all over the world because we keep getting together for these events. And I love competing in Magic tournaments,
It's the social aspect. The game's awesome, and I would play the game, if not on a professional level, just for fun. But the people you come to hang out with, I have 5 people staying at my house. I live in Denver, so I have 5 people staying at my house. We're having a good time, going out to eat dinner, sharing stories. It's kind of like a team in one sense, but in the other sense, it's just like a group of friends just wanting to hang out. And this is kind of the thing that unites us all. But all these people are good people. And Grand Prix, while they don't pay out as much money as something like a Pro Tour or whatever, they're a lot more fun, a little more relaxed, and you just get to show up and have fun.
I love the challenge of it. I love the competition of it. It's something that is really unlike most other things that are really out there, in that even when you've sort of solved it, you know, because new sets of cards come out all the time, you know, there's always new things to figure out. There's always new challenges. And because there's lots of, you know, very smart people all over the world who are also trying to figure all these things out, there's always major competition in actually doing all this, actually, you know, like figuring these things out and being ahead of everyone else. So there's, you know, I'm a very competitive person, but more than anything else, I love the intellectual challenge of, you know, trying to figure everything out.